Oh gosh, I gotta study for that history project.
Wow.
What's this? Whoa!
Whoa, hello my child. I am Father Time.
Whoa, Father Time, what are you doing here?
I'm here to help you understand history, my boy. Now come, let us explore. Now, Jimmy, this is FDR, the 32nd President of the United States.
Well, Father Time, what does that have to do with history?
Well, he created a thing called Social Security.
What's that? Okay.
During the Great Depression, many elderly lost their savings and could no longer work to make them back. So, Social Security was invented to ensure the old-timers had enough to live on. Over time, Medicare was also introduced because they found insurance for the elderly cost much more than they could afford. Today, we see the two go hand in hand when it comes to retirement. Social Security hasn't changed much, but they're running into some problems.
See, Jimmy, the baby boomers are starting to retire, so more money is going out than is going in.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, Father Time.
Things might soon be changing.
Yeah.
Now quickly, Jimmy, onto the American dream.
Oh, I've heard of that. It's being rich, owning a business, and being your own man.
Something like that, Jimmy.
After World War II, many soldiers were coming back from the war and were tired from the Great Depression and 4 years of fighting. To compensate, the government introduced economic plans such as the GI Bill of Rights to help veterans. This gave veterans access to education, homes, farms, and businesses. This paved the way for a new type of American, a hard-working and successful man with a family to boot. Today's American dream is very similar, however the tumultuous economy has made it very difficult for many to achieve the American dream.
The 2008 housing market crash took a toll on America's economy and has been slowly recovering ever since.
I remember that as a kid, but I don't really remember much from it.
Well, you'll learn about that on another venture, dear boy.
Neat!
Onward!
Wow, are we in a spaceship?
Oh, yes we are, Jimmy. Now hold on tight.
This, Jimmy, is the space race. You see, after World War II, tensions between the US and Russia rose, communism versus capitalism. For decades, the US and Russia fought proxy wars like Vietnam, Korea, and the like. Among the bullets was a different kind of war, a race. Space travel was soon becoming a reality, and whichever country could get there first would clearly be the most advanced and successful. On October 4th, 1957, the Soviets launched Sputnik, the first man-made object in space. Then, 5 years later, the first man in space, cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin. Russia had made history twice, but there was still one feat that seemed impossible. In 1969, Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon for the first time in human history. The US had finally won the space race. The technology we invented during the space race is still being used today, like satellite TV, smoke detectors, and firefighter suits.
Yes, Jimmy, the world would be a very different place if it weren't for the innovations that were made during the space race.
Father Time, do you smell something burning?
Of course not, Jimmy.
No, I'm pretty sure those are people burning.
Now come, on to civil rights.
Hey, that's MLK.
Well, that's right. We're in Selma, the March for Civil Rights.
Civil rights? Voting rights? I thought everyone had those.
Well, they do in your time, but this is 1965.
What?
Racial discrimination was rampant, and African Americans had finally had enough. Voting rights was one of the things they fought for. African Americans were allowed to vote as of February 3rd, 1870, but many states had gotten around that with shady tactics such as literacy tests and grandfather clause. Over time, things got better, but it still wasn't enough. In the wake of Jimmy Lee Jackson's death, MLK started a march from Selma to Montgomery in protest of voting rights. The protest led to violence as police threw tear gas and beat innocent protesters. This event and pressure from the country forced Johnson to face the problem. His solution was the Voting Rights Act of 1965, aimed to overcome legal barriers at the state and local levels that prevented African Americans from exercising their right to vote under the 15th Amendment. The law immediately saw a decline in racial discrimination in voting. Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act was deemed unconstitutional as of late. The section determined which states must receive clearance from the Justice Department or federal court in Washington before they made minor changes to voting procedures, like moving a polling place, or major ones like redrawing electoral districts. Many argue that it's a step back when it comes to minority voting rights, but we have yet to see where this development takes us.
Alright, dear boy, that's the end of our trip. You think you're ready to finish that project now?
I sure am, Mr. Father Time Wizard guy.
Please, Mr. Father Time Wizard was my dad. You can call me Father.
Dad?